saying that on the old version. I think it started.
Did anybody sign up to speak? Check that for me, please. Okay, thank you. More Darby's family. Mercy. We're gonna have enough to embarrass you before this is over with. We'll have stories after the swearing in.
Mhm.
Family pictures of you when you were a child are
On the
great ones.
bearskin rug.
Yeah, are the great ones.
Ladies and gentlemen, at 6 o'clock, I'll call the meeting to order, and I'm going to call on Councilman Ricky Hall for our invocation. Ricky, if you would, please, sir.
Yes, sir. Let us pray. Our gracious Heavenly Father, we come at this time thanking you for this day you've given us. And Lord, we come and ask your healing hand upon Chip tonight. Lord, we come at this time asking you to help us in the deliberations of our city. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, sir. Would you please rise for our Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I think you can see we're one short. Our Mayor Pro Tem is under the weather right now. We wish him best in quick recovery from that. So next we have the oath of office for our new city clerk, Darby Terrell, and I'll call on Renee Ward, our interim city clerk. Renee, if you would, please. And family, would y'all mind coming up? Congratulations, Doug. Family, we will have stories after the meeting. Thank y'all for being here. Now we're going to put Darby to work. Darby, if you would, the code of the ethics disclosing conflicts of interest.
Members of council, I would like to remind you of your agreed to avoid conflicts of interest. I ask if there are any potential conflicts concerning tonight's agenda.
I have none.
Mr. Mayor, I have none.
I have none. I have none.
Thank you, Darby. Next, we're going to go to the wastewater treatment plant project update. Aaron, you're going to introduce this, please, sir?
Yes, sir. We have tonight Hazen and Sawyer, who are the engineers that are working on the Graham wastewater treatment plant expansion project. I'm not sure which of them are coming up to speak, but they're here to give you guys an update of where we are and what to expect coming up.
Thank you for being here, sir. Let me have your name and address, if you would, please.
Sure. Colin Beck with Hazen and Sawyer. My address is 1343 Rodessa Run, Raleigh, North Carolina.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council members. Good evening, everybody else. Aaron Tyne requested that we come and provide a brief recap of the Graham wastewater treatment plant expansion project schedule to date and anticipated project schedule and cost moving forward. The main purpose of the project is to increase the plant design capacity from 3.5 MGD to 5 MGD, improve treatment efficiency and reliability, and ensure wet weather resiliency. So in August of 2020, in the spring of 2020, Hazen completed a preliminary engineering report for the Graham wastewater treatment plant expansion. And on behalf of the city, submitted an application for funding to the North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality Division of Water Infrastructure. In August of 2020, NCDEQ selected this project for full funding and issued a letter of intent to provide $30,694,000 of funds for the wastewater treatment plant expansion. That included $7.6 million in clean water state revolving fund loans at an interest rate of 0.18% with $500,000 of debt forgiveness, and also an appropriations for Disaster Relief Act of 2019 loan in the amount of $23 million, also at an interest rate of 0.18%. So as part of the funding requirements, Hazen and Sawyer produced an engineering report, environmental information document. Hazen drafted and submitted this document in November. We got comments from the state in roughly January of 2021. And most of those comments were minor, resulted in minor updates to the basis of design. The most significant comment addressed wet weather resiliency and included a requirement for a more conservative approach to the plant peak hourly design flow. So after we addressed these EREID report comments and updated the cost estimate, it was determined an additional $5 million of funding would be required. So Hazen and Sawyer worked with NCDEQ and it did not require a formal reapplication. And the city was granted an additional $5 million of clean water SRF loan funds. Project design progressed as we move forward to 60% design in July of this year. We did some more subsurface investigation as part of that design when we're laying out the facilities. And there was a discovery of a significant amount of rock and unsuitable soil bearing conditions. In addition to, as we all know, some material and labor cost escalations that have been occurring recently. And we produced an updated cost estimate on that was $45 million, $45,445,000. That's $10 million in addition to the $5 million that was requested and granted in March of 2021. This required an additional application to clean water SRF. So we did submit a formal application on September 30th of last month. And we do expect that NCDEQ will grant those additional $10 million of funds. We won't formally know until about March of next year. So moving forward with that's kind of a recap of where we are today. The anticipated project schedule moving forward includes 90% design documents. Next month in November, we'll have a meeting with the city as we have for each of our design milestones of 30%, 60%, and now 90%. We expect, as I mentioned, a decision from NCDEQ regarding the Clean Water SRF loan fund decision in March of next year. We hope to be ready to advertise, pushing that design schedule forward in anticipation of receiving those funds and bidding the project as soon as possible. We expect to hopefully advertise in April of next year. then have a bid opening in about June of next year and construction beginning in about August of next year. So I guess that's the update, but be happy to answer any questions that anybody may have.
Thank you, sir. Let's start with Melody. Questions, Melody, please.
Not at this time. Thank you.
Tricky, Jennifer.
You anticipate any other additional costs?
We don't, with the bidding climate right now, we'll certainly keep our eye on that. And, we're hoping that materials and, labor pricing don't continue to escalate that way they have. But this is definitely our best estimate right now. And we hope that it's $45 million is going to be good on bid day.
Is it Mr. Beck?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. I thought I heard that right. It looks like we're doing what, a 40% increase in the GPD, roughly, thereabouts.
Yeah, went from 30, then an additional 5 to 35, and then 10 to 45. So from 30 to 45.
Have we got a lifespan of this, Aaron? Have we figured that, the increase? We go to 80%, right? And then we have to look at it again.
Yeah. So we design these plants. So actually a requirement of the NCDEQ loans is that all infrastructure has a minimum lifespan of 20 years.
20 years. I like you. I don't want to see you again, if that makes, if that makes sense. So 20 years is what we're looking at. And that's how you figured going from 3.5 to 5.0.
That's correct. Based on, the population growth projections to the best of our knowledge.
Okay, I don't have anything else. Thank you, sir. I
Sure.
appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Anybody from the floor have anything to add with this? Staff have any questions?
No questions, but I appreciate Hazen coming by. I think as we were getting closer to 90%, just talking with Tanya, we felt it was important for them to come and address council. Because once you get to that point, things tend to move pretty good, and they've been working on it for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So definitely appreciate them coming out and just giving an update on where we got. I mean, this is a big investment for the city.
Yeah.
I felt it was important for the public to sort of hear where we are in this big investment.
Okay. Thank you, Mr.
Absolutely.
Beck.
Thanks, Aaron.
We appreciate your time. And gentlemen, thank y'all for coming tonight. All right, next we'll go to our consent agenda. To approve minutes of the September 14th meeting. B, to approve the engineering contract number 2 for Alley Williams, Carmen and King. C, to approve administration edits to the development ordinance pursuant to sections 10.4A and B. D, to approve the sewer disconnection policy for delinquent sewer only accounts. E, to award a contract in amount of $275,000 to Stuart Cooper Newell Architects for designing a fire station. F, to approve the sanitary sewer permitting policy. G, to approve water and wastewater system extension and connection. And finally, H, to approve the following tax releases in the amount of $2,580.33. I would like to pull E off of the consent agenda. Does anybody else want to pull anything?
I think it is G.
Wastewater system extension and connection policy?
Yes,
Okay,
I just had a question.
okay. Anybody else want to pull anything else? With that, I need a motion to approve A, B, C, D, F, and H of the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, make the motion.
Thank you, sir. I need a second.
Second.
Thank you, ma'am. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed likewise. All right, let's take yours first, since the fire chief's on the clock. We'll leave him sitting here for a few minutes.
The only addition to the existing policy that we have is just that there would be developer-funded city and Senate-sized under the method here to encourage development of priority of sewer lines to approve funded private. How would that be? How would you, number one, did the attorney take a look at that and was okay with it? And number two, how would you calculate that, I guess?
You talking about number 3 on G?
Yes.
Okay, so that's in red, correct?
Mhm.
that part is in red because we actually don't have a sewer master plan for it to relate to. It's something that we're working to get.
Oh, so that's to be deleted, not added.
It's not to be deleted.
Oh.
This policy is actually what we work off of. It's very similar to what Nevin has, since we're sort of connected systems. The reason why it's in red is that where they have it, we don't yet. So we just formalizing the policy that we're already doing, and then just keeping that part in red so that when we do have it, it'll be basically there for us to be able to use. So
So does this policy already exist?
we're currently doing it. It's just that we don't have it in approved form yet. So we're working off of the policy internally. Now, by council approving it, we actually can hand someone this document when we need to hand it to them. So it's something that we're already doing.
Did the attorneys look at this?
Not sure they did, but the ordinance already allows for this. The way the ordinance is written, it's just that the policy hasn't been put into this form. And since Mevin's already doing it, it just made sense that we.
Is this exactly like Mebane?
Pretty similar? I mean, it just has Graham versus Mebane.
Right, but I mean, substantively, it's exactly like Mebane.
Mhm.
Okay, so I assume their attorneys probably looked at it as well. I just, before we like do something and formalize a new policy, a whole new policy, I just wanted to make sure that, you know, it's gone through the legal review and everything, because nobody at like planning or nobody like, no other boards underneath us have looked at this.
Well,
So-
this was created by Allen Williams, Carmen and King. So
Okay.
our engineers are the ones who drafted this, since they're the ones who also sort of look over our systems for water, sewer.
And so what does the red mean? So is that going to be in the policy or
It's,
not? gonna
it's
be
in the policy now, so that when we actually do get a water and sewer master plan,
Uh-huh.
it will already be there. We can't apply it because we don't necessarily have a master plan for it to relate to. So by the time we do get that planning in place, then it won't be red anymore. It actually be applicable that we can actually, you know, apply something to it. So it's there for basically future use.
Is the part in the red in the Mebane plan?
I believe they already have theirs in place, or time's down. I believe they already have theirs in place, but it's going to be very similar because we're basically, it's the same engineer. Allen Williams is their engineer as they are for us. So the language is going to be the same.
Still have the floor.
Yeah,
And the thing is, this actually doesn't need to be approved by council. We could actually do this internally. It's
Okay.
good to do it by council because you're basically putting the weight behind it. But this is an internal policy that we're already doing.
okay. It was just the whole thing that we just had, you know, about whether we had utilities there, and then you've got developers saying they want to connect and we don't have this plan. So I was just kind of confused as to, I thought this was something you already had and you were adding that. And so that I had a question about that specific and how you calculated that. So if you have a developer, for instance, that wants to come in and they want to put in the sewer services, like, what is your process? What is this policy saying? Is it saying that you'll sit down with the developer and say, okay, well, if you do 50-50, you do 60-40, do you have like a standard of what you do, or is every single case different? Or
I mean, yeah, I mean, they're different because you don't know if you're talking about having a crossover private property, you're not, you know, what's the line size? Will it have to be upgraded? Like, a lot of things go into whether or not you can just simply do it. I guess it would have to depend on the situation, but Josh and Allen Williams look at the situations when they come up and someone wants to extend our name. So that's just our normal process.
So, okay. Okay.
Melanie, questions about this?
I do not.
Vicky, questions? With that, then I need a motion to approve G.
I'd make a motion that we approve G, sir.
I need a second.
Second.
Thank you, ma'am. All in favor, say aye.
Uh,
All opposed likewise. Good. Next, we have E to award the contract to the amount of $275,000 Stuart Cooper Newell Architects for the design of this fire station. I'm gonna call on the fire chief to come up and talk to us about it. Chief, if you would, please, sir. It's nice to have you here.
Always good to be here, Mayor. Do you need my address, sir?
Yes,
616 Caraway Drive, Graham, and I serve as your fire chief.
thank you, sir.
Mr. Mayor and council, I am excited to stand before you to discuss the fire station design. This has been a long time coming, as you know. If you'll remember back during our budget presentations, I think in 2003, there was a snippet I pulled out that said budget priorities, build another fire station. So here we are in 2021, and we're ready to build another fire station. So several months ago, we sent out a request for RFQs from architect firms to talk about the design of the fire station, and we received 5 of those back. We went through, we graded those, we narrowed it down to 2. We brought them in for an interview. Aaron, Julianne, myself, and Josh, our engineer. And so out of the 2, we brought those in for interviews, and we selected Stewart, Cooper, and Newell. And it's actually very hard to say. I understand why you kind of stumbled. It doesn't flow very well. They are a firm out of Gastonia, North Carolina, founded in 1971, which was an outstanding year, the year I was born. They're quite old. They have 19 employees with 7 registered architects, and they've designed or consulted on over 350 fire station and public safety facilities. So the reason we liked Stewart, Cooper, and Newell, 1 is the president of the company will be our architect. 2, very personable. His presentation included spending a lot of time with us as a fire department to discuss what our wants and desires are in a fire station. A lot more than just filling out a form about checking a box of the things that we want. And we felt like council would want us to have that personal touch as it relates to a fire station. We don't build fire stations often, as we know, so we felt like we needed someone to kind of come in and maybe even hold our hand through parts of this process, so we make sure that we do it correctly. Ken Newell is the president of the company. He is a graduate of NC State and UNC Charlotte, and has 28 years in the business. And he is considered a leading expert on the design of modern fire stations. I've sat through many of his presentations at conferences as he talked about current trends and stuff with fire stations. They are a diversified business, certified in minority and women-owned business enterprise program. So that's very important as well. And they also constructed Burlington Fire Station number 6, which is very close by Beaufort Fire Headquarters, which I'll take a trip down there soon to check that out. And also Danville, Virginia headquarters, which they took old city buildings and repurposed those and refurbished those to make their fire headquarters. So I know we do a lot of that stuff here in town as well. So we're very happy that we're at this point, and we believe that Ken and his group will serve us well. And he has provided us a statement that he definitely can work within our budget on design. So I bring that to you, and we hope we can move forward with our fire station.
Thank you, sir. 350 stations they've built. That's a lot. Have you got a timeline when we can see some of their ideas?
So we would start right away. They said that they think the process of design would be 4 to 5 months. It could be quicker. It just depends on what all projects they have in the hopper as well. If it's just ours, or if obviously if they're building 350 fire stations, they're a pretty busy company. But we feel like by early spring, we should have a design in place and hopefully ready to start moving some dirt. Burke's ready to go.
Yeah, I bet.
So,
Have they, the 350 fire stations, they've bound to have built a drive-through station like you're planning?
absolutely. They showed us a couple conceptual designs. They took the parcels that we provided them aerial shots and took existing fire stations that they had built and how they would turn and how that would look with having rear access off of one road and the station dumping out on another road or street. So there were different options. Obviously, they didn't know soil and, those sort of issues that they may run into, but they gave us a couple ideas.
I see Captain Moore just came in. How involved is the staff going to be? Like Captain Moore?
Very
with-
involved because we don't build fire stations often. We want to give everybody, it can't be everybody, but we're going to give a large group the opportunity to be involved in this if they choose to be. And it'll be makeup of full timers and volunteers, because this will be a station for all of us.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Questions for the chief?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Jennifer, question? With that, then I
What
need it.
is what's the decision of who decides how big the station is and how much the station will cost overall and how many employees it'll employ, that sort of thing? When do we get to that part?
So that should be included in our next budget. Obviously, if we're able to, especially if we're able to get the design done in early spring, over the winter and early spring, that'll be right when we start working on budgets. And so we're probably looking at a 12-month build. Once we start moving dirt, 12 months on that's pretty.
What is it being designed to house though? How many people, that sort of thing?
So it is designed to house one engine. Generally, you keep your ladder truck and an engine downtown. We'll keep an engine in this station and perhaps a reserve truck as well. If that's the place to put it, we'll obviously evaluate that. Staffing wise, it will be designed to staff 2 to 3 people a day. We're building a station to grow into, so we're not going to build it just for today. Obviously, it's a 50, 75-year fire station. So we're building it big enough that we can grow and staff as well. We'll also have dorm rooms for volunteers if they want to stay, or if we have a residence program where people come in and pull duty overnight, they're able to stay and have sleeping quarters.
Now, how many bunks do you think?
So one of the things now that is debatable, I guess, in fire stations is, do you have individual rooms or do you have open bunk concepts with partition walls? So as we deal with younger firefighters, they tend to want to be more secluded into a bedroom, playing their games and doing that thing, where older firefighters, we like to have a social aspect of being out in the open. So that's something we got to decide through the design process. I like the open with partitions where you do have some privacy, but yet everybody still has to socialize at some point, or you check on your neighbor when you get up for a call to make sure that they're awake, they're live, those sort of things, to make sure that everybody's getting on the truck at the same time. You don't have to go knock on the door or open the door to do that. So anyway, I guess whether you share bunks or you have individual spaces, so 9, 12 bunks or rooms for firefighters to stay in, then resident quarters, you may have 3 or 4 of those.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Anybody from the floor got a question for the fire chief? Jason, have you got anything to add on this, sir? Okay, thank you. I appreciate you being here. Thank you, chief.
Yes, sir. Thanks.
With that being said, I'll be glad to make a motion to approve E on the consent agenda, and I'd like to have a second.
Second.
Thank you, ma'am. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed likewise. Thank you, chief. Next, we go to old business, and we've got 1 and 2, and both of them have been asked by the planning and zoning to postpone these so they can work on them a little bit more. And out of respect for the planning and zoning board, I think we need to grant this. I'll ask for comments from everyone. What does everybody think about postponing number 1 of the old business?
Yes.
I make a motion that we postpone
Second.
1 and 2.
No, I do not agree with that. Go ahead. It's an emotion. Go ahead.
Okay, you've got a motion to postpone 1 and 2. I would like to ask if let's do them one at a time.
Okay, I make a
Okay.
motion that we postpone 1.
Okay, I've got a motion and I've got a second to postpone number 1. Public hearing has been continued. So all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed likewise. Motion carries unanimous. Now let's go to number 2.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to see us back up on this one. We're already at 4 months, 3 months. I think when we did this, we missed a step, and I'd like to see us back up and ask the staff to go back through and check on what we need to be looking at. First of all, are the special use permits and what actually items that are on that list. And I think, that's one of the areas that we actually need to first go back and look at the special use permits before we start doing that, and then ask the staff to make a recommendation about not only the special use permits and what needs to be covered under the special use permits, but also what their recommendation would be at that point.
Okay, so you would like to amend this a little bit to take it back into the staff's hands
I
and
would.
then to the planning and
I would like
zoning.
to take it off the table as it is written currently and have them go back and do it the right way.
I'm not sure that we can do that we've got a motion here. Not a motion, but we have a public hearing that's been continued. I think we've got to continue that public hearing one way or another.
Right.
Or after we do that, then we can talk about what to do with it.
Okay.
I don't think we can do it in this motion. Brian,
That sounds fine to me. What, if you want to continue it, be fine. If you wanted to pull it, you could pull it.
We can pull it.
I'm pretty sure you could. Yeah, you
Okay.
could take it off and come back to it at a later date.
you're talking about taking it completely off of,
I think that's what Melody was.
It
Ms.
is.
Wiggins
Does
was
it
talking
give
about.
the staff
Yeah.
the amount of time?
We
to
would
do
just
hearing?
re-advertise and go
Yeah.
back through from start to finish, basically, just like it was a new text amendment
So you would get back through the special use
All-
permits, the
all the
whole thing,
way.
right?
from the.
Correct.
okay.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we pull this tonight and delay it and allow the staff the opportunity to work on it.
So instead of tabled, you want to pull it. So you want to end it completely, the public hearing.
Is that what we need to do,
I
Brian?
think it's in your discretion.
Okay, great. We'll do that.
Okay, we've got a motion. Before I ask for a second, any comments from anyone? I'm fine with this, as long as we get this thing looked at by whoever needs to look at it. Either way you want to do it, I'm fine with it.
I think it
Yes.
needs to move forward at some
Justin, I'd
point.
like to, be involved in the conversations in regard to that
Sure,
text amendment, okay?
yeah, absolutely.
Mr. Mayor, I question the legality of being able to do that. I mean, it has been advertised and I think we need to make a motion to table it until such time as the planning board has a chance to review it.
Let me ask you this, if we went through with the motion to table and the motion failed, then could we pull it?
You already have a motion on the
Yeah,
floor.
there's,
I know I do. I'll act on that motion, but we're talking about whether or not your motion is legal. So we need to discuss that a second. I truly believe. I mean, once he's asked that question, I need to have an answer.
so your question is if you have you're going to take the motion to pull it first?
Completely end the public hearing.
Uh-huh.
This will be completely off the table. Can we legally do that?
I think you can. Yeah.
All right, thank you. So I have a motion. Any more discussion? Then I need a second to that motion. I'll second it. So I'll say all in favor to the motion that Ricky made. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed likewise. So we have,
That Ricky made?
Yes,
Yeah.
he did. It's 3-1.
Okay, so
no, did you vote? I'm sorry.
I didn't vote, that the one that Ricky made though,
Yes.
right? Yes,
Ricky voted.
Are you voting
Mhm.
aye to that?
yes.
Okay, so it passed unanimously. So we have,
I don't think they did. Yeah.
I think you have to vote on Melody's motion.
Yeah, you got another Melody's vote.
That's where I got confused. I thought we had the motion we had on the floor, so.
Second her motion. Now we gotta take a vote on that motion.
all right, let's back up now. I apologize. Take here. Tell me what to do, Brian.
Melody's motion was first, so I think you take them in
So
order.
did you have a
And he-
second?
Jerry seconded.
But he didn't know what he was voting
He could
for.
vote against his own second.
let me have the motion then. What was Melody's motion?
The motion is to take this off the
take
table
it
at this time and have
off
the
the
staff study this on the special use permits and to come back to the planning board of the city council, whatever they deem to be the correct procedure at that point.
And I seconded a motion. So let's vote on that motion then. Or have we already voted on it?
No.
No, you thought you were voting on Ricky's motion.
All right, then I apologize for my mistake.
Okay.
Okay. Let's go to Melody's motion. We got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed likewise. Aye. The motion failed 3-1. So let's see if, is there another motion?
Mr. Mayor, make a motion that we continue the
You make a motion to do what the planning board asked.
right. Yes, sir.
Okay, which is continued from here to September the 14th,
I think,
to November the 9th.
yes.
I have a motion. I need a second. I hate to second another one, but I'll second that one too. So I've got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Then all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed likewise.
Aye.
Thank you, ma'am. Motion carried 3-1. All right. Thank you, Justin. I appreciate that input, sir. Next, we go to the public comment period. We had no public comments. Okay. Next, we go to council comments. Let's start with Ricky, please.
I have one thing. The old hosiery mill over on Parker Street. Is there any chance that we can, using our current development ordinance, that we can have the property owner board up the windows? I've had some complaints.
That's a typical process when there's a building that's got dilapidated features. What we would do
Broken
is,
out windows.
Yeah,
it's pretty
exactly.
Dilapidated.
that's correct. So that's standard protocol. So we can make contact with the owner and go ahead and initiate that.
Cool.
Melody,
No, sir.
Jennifer.
So listening to one of the board meetings, the subject of whether or not to do the Pledge of Allegiance has come up, and the invocation and or moment of silence, whether that should be done prior to the meetings. While I respect the board's advice on the issues that they work on so diligently for the council, I don't think our procedures need to change in this regard. The boards are a reflection of the city council and the city as a whole. On this particular board, 2 veterans serve on this board, and thankfully they do, because one of them spoke up and said she didn't think it takes that long to honor our flag. I couldn't agree more. I feel really bad that this was their first meeting. The first meeting that they come to as a commission member, they, as a veteran, are asked to vote whether we are going to say the Pledge of Allegiance and do a moment of silence. The result of that was that luckily, when it was about to happen and everything was going to be a consensus without a vote, she called for a vote. And luckily, no one voted to not say the Pledge of Allegiance. You know, a majority did not vote to do that. So not trying to call out anybody or anything, but I mean, if this, you know, why is this even a thing? I'd like a consensus of this council to employ a policy of having an invocation and a Pledge of Allegiance before each commission meeting. And I hope that I can get everybody's vote and consensus to do so.
You talking about for every board that we have
Yes.
to do those?
It's just like saying the oath of office. I mean, when are we going to, I mean, why are we stopping doing these things? I mean, they're important. The flag's important. I don't mind if someone does a moment of silence or an invocation, but the process is there for a reason. And I'm just not in favor of stopping saying the Pledge of Allegiance or asking for guidance before our meeting and for you know, a time to reflect. I really feel strongly about this, I'm so embarrassed about how that veteran, there's 2 veterans on that board. I'm so embarrassed that that would even be an issue.
Well, there's one veteran on this board that is all for doing the Pledge of Allegiance and having an invocation at every meeting.
I
So,
agree. I agree. And what if it was your first meeting and you had come to a commission meeting and that was the first thing that you get to decide?
Brian, what will we need to do? Can we do something like that, or is it up to the individual boards?
Well, I would guess that the boards, like Jennifer said, are an extension of the council. So I would guess whatever consensus you guys came to would be what they should follow as well.
My consensus is I did my time for the country. And I think the veterans should be honored with the Pledge of Allegiance. The flag should be honored with the Pledge of Allegiance. And also, I am a Southern Baptist, so you can't tell me I can't pray at a meeting. Without me going to jail, I'll still do it.
Thank you, Jerry.
Let's be clear, though, really clear about that particular board, though. That particular board does not do a prayer as such. They have done a moment of silence for many, many years. So just to be clear, they have not done an invocation. They have done a moment of silence.
I think Jennifer
And
was
that's
including.
fine.
If you'll let me finish, I am in favor of both of those
Thank
and
you.
for us putting it in.
Thank
Absolutely.
you, Melody.
So I think we have a consensus that we put that into each one of the boards, their plan. Mary, tell me what that would be.
It would just be that we would email them out and let them know that that's an order of business.
Okay.
So the board chair had some discussion about the length of their business and the process of their business and was looking for some guidelines and had just requested it. So they discussed it, there was a vote, and then there was a discussion of asking about clarification. And so the Pledge of Allegiance was affirmed. The moment of silence was voted down. But I think that the board is open to whatever guidance this council, presents down.
Initially, the Pledge of Allegiance was not going to happen until one board member, yes, at the video, yeah, she said, did we just decide not to do the Pledge of Allegiance?
No, there was no vote. There was no decision.
I have
made
the
like that.
video. I'm
Okay,
very
that's
happy
fine,
to
but there
show
was
it.
no decision made
Right,
to
there was
do
there was
that. They were
discussion.
discussing it.
Yes.
Okay.
But we'll take care of that.
Please, thank you. Okay. Anything else, Jennifer? You still have the floor.
I just encourage everybody to come out to the Pumpkin Bash, which will be happening in downtown Graham, October the 29th.
Give us a rundown on the Alco Vets event this weekend.
Wow, great turnout. Senator Gailey, Dennis Riddell, Representative Dennis Riddell, all the county commissioners. We had a really great showing, Brian Baker, and lots of people there, close to over 100, I think. And we did a dedication ceremony there, groundbreaking ceremony for the new Chestnut Ridge campus, which we're working on fundraising with that organization to build a chapel and 6 to 8 tiny homes that would be there for veterans retreats. So veterans could come from all over North Carolina and have a week's RESPA there. And it backs up, and it's just how things happen sometimes. I say it's a God thing, but that particular piece of property that was given, donated to, it's over 7 acres to Alco Vets. It backs up to the new 1,500 acre park that Alamance County just purchased. And so Brian Baker was there and Brian Haygood. They have a lot of great ideas about how they can incorporate this new campus with the park, and have a lot of wonderful ideas about the park. There on Bass Mountain. It's right on Fire Tower Road. Just a beautiful, beautiful campus. And the person that donated it passed away just a couple of days before. He died with liver cancer. passed away just a couple days before the dedication ceremony, but he was so excited for this to be his legacy. So it was very emotional for his family, about 15 to 20 family members there. It was a great event.
Thank you, ma'am.
The one great thing that we pulled from talking to Brian, both Brians, is Brian Baker, their Parks and Rec, said he would extend one of the main trails down to this.
Oh, that'd be fantastic. Okay. The Veterans Parade is scheduled for Graham, 10 o'clock on Saturday, the 13th of November. If you hadn't signed up to be in it or to watch it, I think it ends around October the 23rd, I think is when the sign up ends. Let's go to the staff real quick, unless anybody's got anything else. Aaron?
Yes, yes, sir. Just have a couple of things. The first thing is that our police department is currently collecting feedback with a survey that you will see in your water bills, as well as we have it on the website as well. And, this is a great time to provide feedback for our department, who's always looking to make improvements. And, I appreciate them doing that. The other item, just want to send condolences to the family of Grace Baldwin, who had passed away, I want to say last weekend.
Yes, sir.
She served on several boards with us, very involved in the community. It's definitely sad to hear about her passing. I usually got a phone call from her every other week, so it's going to be a little empty not getting that phone call, when I usually expect to get it. So just want to send my condolences on behalf of staff and the city to her family.
Thank you, sir. Justin, you got anything to add, sir?
Nothing to add. Thank you.
Brian?
No, sir.
Mary?
Mayor and council, if you could hang in with me, I got kind of a lengthy list.
Okay.
First, I just want to send out my gratitude to the HRC board. All volunteers were present at last week's meeting. Many of them were new, as you heard Councilman Talley mention, first time participating, but they awarded facade grant funding. So I just commend them for their volunteer efforts. We have a couple of other events coming up aside from the Veterans Day Parade and the Pumpkin Bash. Graham High School Homecoming Parade is this Thursday. It'll take place in downtown at 6 p.m. Hopefully the community will come out to that. Because we had inclement weather this past Saturday, the Alamance County Car Show has been postponed to October 23rd. That'll take place in downtown. West Elm will be closed. And then depending on participation, there may be spillover into Court Square. And then also on October 23rd at Cook Park, the Elite Shamrock 5K Costume Run Walk will take place at 9:30. So just letting those who are listening,
9:30 p.m.
a.m. be aware of all those events that are taking place. And then presented from Downtown Development is the Vision Forum that's affiliated with their Downtown Associate Community Program. That is Thursday, October 21st. At the Graham Mill. The public is welcome and encouraged to come. That is a public / municipal visioning forum, part of our Main Street prerequisite programming. That is also on our website for participation information and across our social media platforms. So I hope the council will also be there. Now, presenting for Graham Recreation and Parks. There's a big thanks to Naira. That is an asphalt repair company that is here in Graham. They opened over 3 years ago. The company approached the Graham Recreation Parks Department with the idea of resurfacing the tennis courts at Cook Park as a community service project. Naira employees, along with the park staff, have been resurfacing the 6 tennis courts over the last several weeks. In addition to resurfacing the courts, they are adding permanent pickleball lines to 2 of the courts. All work is expected to be completed this week. Please stop by Cook Park at your convenience and take a look. And if you know any of the staff at Naira, and definitely our Recreation and Park staff, when you see them, give them a big thank you that they have gone above and beyond during this busy season to improve the facilities for our community. And then in addition, while at Cook Park, check out the new entrance sign and the newly planted pink weeping cherry tree located to the left of the entrance. that memorializes Mickey Cheek. We believe Mickey's tree will provide a beautiful welcome to those visiting a park that Mickey so dearly loved.
Graham Walks,
So Graham Waltz registration is underway. This is going off of memory. I believe registration takes place through the end of the month, and then that is
Program actually begins tomorrow.
oh, thank you. So it starts tomorrow. So if you haven't registered, register now.
okay.
Program actually begins tomorrow. The Shamrock is the host location again this year.
Great, thank you.
I will get up with Renee and Darby and we will do a proper thank you for Naira. We'll take care of that. Have y'all got anything? Darby? Anyone from the floor? It's story time. As soon as we adjourn, I make a motion, we adjourn. I need a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed likewise. So tell me about Darby. Stuff I can
What kind of child was she?
Yeah.
Perfect timing.
Darn it.
It just got interesting.
Tanya, thank you, Chief, thank you.